Hi there. Welcome again to May. And I wanted to just give you a few thoughts about the podcast that was done with Amanda Krill with me today. And that's on May 1st. So some of the thoughts I had was I love to bring people on who have gone through a traumatic event in a relationship and really see the work that's required to leave the relationship and also to meet that crescendo of the relationship ending and then seeing the repair that comes from it. I see this all the time in my work and all the time in the groups I've been running for over like 17 years now, where I see people come in, they've really worked and worked and worked so hard to make the relationship work, especially in certain positions in marriages. Someone usually takes on the emotional laboring position of the marriage or the relationship, and the other person maybe does see themselves or doesn't see themselves or doesn't see the other person. And so for that person to come up and over and start putting their energy into another space, like I'm not going to keep going back and trying to make that relationship work. I'm really going to stick with the message that that person is giving me and go there instead, and then try to bring that decision, that boundary to that person. And stick it. So a lot of what we were referencing, Amanda and I, was Randy Buckley's work on boundaries, which was being respectful and continuing to cultivate the boundaries you need in your relationships. And what you might need in relationships can change from situation to situation. So Amanda, like really setting a boundary and staying with it. And you could see the way she was talking that the whole family had to shift once she set the boundary. So thinking about that for yourself for a minute, like where are the relationships in your life that you have to set a better boundary? Because maybe what you're noticing is when you're around that person that there's a lot of churning that happens for you, that you're not quite yourself, you can't be yourself, you give too much, and you don't actually push past them and be more yourself in situations. And you could hear that of the holding back that Amanda was talking about, like holding herself back from her dreams, from the life that she wanted, and her kids also holding themselves back as well. When we were off the recording, she said one of the breaking moments that she had was that one of her kids said, "How am I going to figure out who I'm going to be if you can't be who you really are in this family around dad? How can I be who I really am in the world?" So sometimes what happens is tremendous healing happens in a family when the family or someone in the family is the conduit of like, we have to change this dynamic because it's not working, and I'm not going to make pretend it's not working anymore. Of course, professional people setting a frame up so that you can do some of that change and that transition in makes it a healthier transition, a safer transition. I always recommend that people have people around them to be a healthy container that you can touch base with, whether that is, a friend or a group or a therapist or a mentor or a coach, someone that's going to help you just hold on to what you're trying to accomplish so you don't get really mixed up during the transitions. So other things that I wanted to bring your attention to in my conversation with Amanda is the whole idea about the timing of a separation. So some of the patterns that I see a lot are people taking a long time to make a decision, making a decision and not swaying from that decision. Finally, the family or the marriage or the two people in the marriage go into crisis, and it's really messy and chaotic at that time. And usually when I'm working with people at that time, I'm like, this is going to pass. This sounds sort of unmanageable, but it is going to pass. People actually dealing with their emotional baggage, their emotional grief over a period of time. Some people take a lot longer, depends on how long they've stayed in the marriage and also how long these dynamics have been untenable. And then going through those emotions until they get clear in their head again about the direction that they're trying to move their life. Then there's the rebuilding of the life. And you've heard also with Amanda, there's also rebuilding of friendships, rebuilding of community, making a commitment to yourself to only go towards people who really bring out sort of what you want brought out in you, the best of you, and the peace in you, and the contentment, and the like-mindedness, and the real connection, like a wake-up call of like, life is too short. Like, I really need to be around people who I feel comfortable with. Like, I don't want to keep sacrificing myself. So there's another part of the cycle of getting out of a relationship that's unhealthy for you. And then going back to yourself, noticing that other people notice your energy shift, and going back again to yourself to figure out, what is it that you want to do now? Who do you want to be now? Who haven't you been for a while? And going there, starting to write your dreams out. And remember that tip. It's the self-care piece. It's not minimize that self-care piece. You can have a really overwhelming day because you don't spend any time taking care of yourself. Or you can have a day where you feel really together and sort of, in line and doing the things that you want and feeling really powerful and insecure in yourself because you've taken some time to be with yourself and to take care of yourself in whatever way that might be. It could be the regular routine of like exercise and good nutrition and sleep, or it could be like, I need to do the opposite. I need to just let myself have all sorts of recreational space so that I can have some time to go back to whatever it is that is your work to do. And then the healing of relationships going forward. Your relationships can heal when you heal yourself, when you get back in touch with your solid energy. So I have a lot of hopes for people going through transition of a long-term relationship or a very serious relationship or marriage, and getting to the other side of it. And the reason why I keep doing the work is I love watching people in transformation. I just think it's amazing to see people just flourish and grow and change. And it's interesting. I was telling this to someone the other day, is that one of the most satisfying things for me is people come into my clinical space and they look like a totally different person. And then they start doing the work and they look like an amazing person, like a beautiful, sparkling, shining person once they start doing the work on themselves and really getting back to who they are and being able to be more themselves. And it's such a miracle to see. And it's all about doing your own personal work and working with your relationship with yourself to strengthen it, to empower yourself, to feel good about yourself. So I just wanted you all to take those gems, like I said with Amanda, and those pieces and see which ones are really important for you to apply to your life right now and see where it goes. And if you want to share how your life has been going through some of the things I've been talking about on these podcasts, I'd love to hear. I'll see you soon.